Hello, this is Dave from Mixed Movement Arts. It's the name of the work that me and my partner Leah Woods are bringing into the world. I just want to take a minute here to talk about the 30-30 practice that we announced on December 1st. It's something we've done before. We have new updated resources that are all freely available on our website, Instagram profile, all that. But the premise is very simple: 30 minutes of whatever you choose to do that feels good for your system. So averaging 30 minutes a day for 30 days straight is the recommendation. And of course, this is flexible. You should be confident in whatever kind of goal you set for yourself. So if 21 days is more practical for you, or 15 minutes a day, doing something that's achievable so it doesn't turn into like a day 3, I missed a day, and then sort of like downward spirals from there. You just kind of forget about the challenge. Like, it happens all the time, and it's no big deal. Like, if that happens, you can always just start again. Yeah, I've been doing these very consistently for myself this past 3 months. I've done 3 in a row. The first one I did in this little series was on shaking. When I was doing shaking, the simple like up, down, vertical shake was the baseline. And anytime I felt an impulse to shake differently or have like a different movement or a breath or a yawn emerge from the system, I would definitely allow that to happen, like not forcing myself to stay doing one thing. So that was the shaking, 30 minutes a day for 30 days straight. Then I did spine articulation, so different waves, circles, improvising with the spine. I really, really enjoyed that one. Felt a lot like, much more like dancey and expressive. That one just feels really good to be in my spine that much. And then the one that I most recently did was also the very first one I did back in 2021, sort of the height of the pandemic, when my autoimmune stuff was the worst it had ever been. I could barely go for a walk around the block without having to collapse and take a nap at the end of it. But I could always lay on the ground, do some expansion, contraction on the breath. The nature of that practice, which again, free resource videos available for that, is the premise: constantly listening into your system for what's the next just right thing for you. Not too much stimulation, not too little stimulation. So just finding, creating, noticing enjoyable, pleasurable sensations and movements in the body, whether that be through stretching, yawning, pandiculation, different ways to release tension, different ways to roll, mobilize the joints. Vocalizing is a big part of that practice for me. So it's very simple, like on the exhale, just letting out some sort of effortless audible sound, like a like a sigh. So there's something really magical, in my opinion, about that sort of practice, where I'm not trying to like do a yoga class or accomplish anything. It's taking 30 minutes, in my example, of time to allow my body to do what it needs to do. And sometimes that's a lot of movement, sometimes that's a lot of stillness and rest, but there's no like end goal for it. It's just moment to moment, enjoying. It's like wringing out a lot of tension from the body. So I love that one, highly recommend it. When me and Leah first did this 30-30, we called it the Movement Self-Care Challenge, and it was 30 minutes accumulated of any sort of movement that feels good to you throughout the day. So it's definitely one approach you can do. So it can be a collection of things. I do 30 minutes of things that support my nervous system through movement. It could also be like the other ones I described, where I'm picking one thing to do. So I'm just gonna shake for 30 minutes straight. Sometimes I did it 30 minutes straight. Sometimes I did it for 60 minutes straight. Sometimes I did it in 3 10-minute chunks throughout the day. So they all have benefit. Something that has been most supportive in actually following through and completing these things has been to, on the first day or 2 or 3, to try to practice more than 30 minutes. So the first day of shaking, I did an hour and a half of shaking throughout that day. That way I had like 2 days in hand. So if I got sick, which I did for 2 days, and I didn't shake at all, barely moved out of bed, but I was still like on track in my brain. And sometimes like life happens, life gets busy, we miss a practice, And if I feel like I'm behind or my average is below 30 minutes and I have to catch up, personally, I feel like I'm much more likely to kind of go into, fuck it mode. Maybe I'll do it again later. Maybe I'll do it again next time. But if I have this extra sort of buffer, something happens in the mental game for me that's very useful as far as continuing to practice, continuing to show up with the practice. Another benefit of starting with extra practice time is that you experience the benefits of your practice to a deeper level. So you're already starting to develop more of a relationship with the practice, which is really what this whole thing is about, is developing the habit, developing the relationship with the practice. So it just becomes part of you. So I don't do it for 30 minutes every day, but I do shake and move my spine for some amount of time every day. Like it's in my system every day. Let's not be perfectionist. Most days of the month. So those are my recommendations. It can be nice to start on a day like December 1st, where you have like a clear 1 through 30 and not required by any means. Some people want to start this on a Monday. You can start next week. So highly recommend choosing when you're going to start, deciding when in the day you're going to do it. So for my current practice, I wake up and I shower and I go straight to the floor for somatic practice. And that's been just the best way to start my day. Dramatically cut down on my caffeine intake just by doing this. Just like require less, because I'm waking up in a way that is actually what my system wants and needs, versus trying to fake awakeness by drinking a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. So state what you're going to do, when you're going to start, when you're going to practice. And yeah, trying to find that extra buffer in the first couple of days, I think can go a long way. We have a habit tracker available. I like having the habit tracker printed out and visible. So it'll look, it's the old one, but it looks something like this. Just printed off a fresh one for today. Those are available in our 30-30 practice starter kit, I believe is what we're calling it. And in that video, there's tutorials on shaking, on spine movement, on this somatic practice I keep talking about. There's some other different mobility things, some sensory things, so videos from both me and Leah that are freely available. Holidays can be a lot for people. So if you're watching this in December around the holidays, like just know having that extra self-practice time can kind of deal better with everything that happens during this winter time of year, where not only can there be different social, familial complexities to navigate, also the reduced sunlight, with a culture that sort of demands that we work the same close to the winter solstice as we do during the summer solstice. Like it's totally backwards. So for the past years, I've been hosting these workshops and talking about winter movement practices. So I think a lot of people are starting to understand seasonal eating. Like we eat more fruit in the summer when fruit is actually growing, not shipping it from around the world. So in the same way, eating seasonal can be beneficial, so can seasonal movement, like seasonally informed movement practices. So the essence of winter movement practices, in my opinion, is trying to find this balance between not overexerting yourself and not stagnating by not doing anything. So keeping some amount of aliveness and circulation in the system. All right. Yeah, I'm going to be hosting some more detailed work going into more of the science and theory of this sort of thing. Another container will be happening in January, just to give a preview. But again, love doing this stuff. Want to support people who want to join us. So totally optional, but we have a WhatsApp group if you want some community support around that. And yeah, wishing you all well, happy moving, and I hope to move with you soon. Please reach out if there's any way we can support you. All right, take care. Have a good day.